What's up, everybody? Matt Wells here with Ant Walker. We're back to talk about Tyler Jeffrey Dillashaw, better known to you guys as TJ Dillashaw. He said he's ready to come back and not just come back from his suspension from his EPO usage, but come right back into a title shot. And I know that sounds crazy to me. And I need to know how you first felt when you saw these headlines about Dillashaw wanting to come right back into immediate title picture.
My first thought is we want a lot of things, that doesn't mean that we should get them. That certainly doesn't mean we deserve them. So I think could be in that category. TJ Dillashaw may want a title shot, and I can understand why. He was the champion. The champion money is much better than being a contender. He didn't actually lose the bantamweight belt in competition. His PED suspension was for a fight in a different weight class. So he has his argument for that. But the flat out matter is, no, you lost your belt because you cheated. And that doesn't mean you should be rewarded with a title opportunity upon your return, especially considering how crowded the division has gotten since his departure.
Yeah, 100%. And we're talking about a division that he took time off to cut down to, which really perplexed a lot of people, me included, because for me, I don't understand when guys go down in weight classes to, I guess, prove something. For me, the harder competition is always going to be in the weight class above you, right? Can you fight outside of the weight, fight bigger, stronger, heavier guys? For me personally, like I don't see the advantage of cutting down to flyweight, just for a money grab. I guess it makes sense, to have that dual, champ thing attached to your legacy. I get that part of it, but at the same time, if you're trying to prove that you are a really skillful fighter whose skills and everything can translate, it's for me, it's going up, not going down.
Yeah, that makes sense. But at the same time, he's still a fighter trying to find the easiest path to the biggest payday. So to be a bigger guy, you look at a smaller one and be like, yeah, I can go down there and handle that. So he went that route because the other alternative at the time, Max Holloway was the champion at featherweight. So the idea of him putting on 10 pounds and being able to be a challenge for Max Holloway doesn't sound nearly as appealing from a self-preservation standpoint as, dieting down to 125 to beat up the smaller Henry Cejudo. Obviously, things did not go the way he planned. But I think that's the mentality going in there. You look at the smaller fighters and see, okay, I at least have a size advantage. This should be easier for me.
Yeah, and that's really like the common misconception because a lot of people like to think hey, the lighter guys are necessarily easier fights. I've been surprised a number of times by just training with smaller guys, like how much quicker they are. They can hit different angles, the speed of difference. There's a lot of things different there. But let's talk about it. Like you said, he went down to fight Henry Cejudo, did not go his way. He paused for EPO. And he said some pretty interesting things since then. And I want to bring up one thing in particular. When he was talking with Brett Okamoto, he said that he actually could have justified the usage had he won. Make this make sense.
I wish I could. If I could make it make sense, then I probably should be a lawyer or something. Like I should maybe be a politician if I can spin that, because that makes absolutely no sense. Because if you did win, well, your win would have been instantly invalidated. You would have had that belt stripped along with the bantamweight belt. You would have sat down for that same 2-year suspension, and you'd be in the same predicament that you are in now, except that you would have tainted a second division while you were at it. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So I think that's just. I mean, look back at some of the people who have held titles in the UFC that have been stripped because of PEDs. Do we think of Sean Shirk as much of a champion? Do we think of Josh Barnett as a legitimate UFC champion?
No,
exactly. Because those belts lasted on their shelf for all of 10 seconds before their flaming hot piss came back. So This is the exact same thing. Like TJ Dillashaw would have been looked at as a temporary stop for the flyweight belt that he never really owned. So I don't understand those comments at all, except maybe the money he would have gotten, the win bonus, I guess. And there wasn't a pay-per-view, so there were no pay-per-view points attached, but he would have gotten the win bonus, and I guess they couldn't take all of that back, or the percentage of fine he got would have been bigger, but he still would have, end of the day, netted more money. That's the only way that makes any sense. But if we're talking about someone who is coming off of suspension and pleading their case to get a title opportunity, you might want to go the remorse route, especially considering how he did just openly admit to it afterward. And he just kind of came clean and said what was going on. Keep going in that direction. This whole, it's okay if I did it. No, it's not. It's not. That's why it's called cheating. That's why you've been sitting down for 2 years. That's why you don't have a belt. That's why you're pleading your case in the media right now. So I don't understand that mentality whatsoever.
Yeah, 100%. Now, I do agree with you on the money thing, because that's, I guess, the only area that would make sense, is that he could have justified it if he would have been able to cash a few more checks. And I kind of think back to, the baseball world, where guys who, in the steroid era, or even just as recently, like with the Astros and the bullpen, thumping the trash cans thing. If you go out there and you win championships, you're going to get bigger contracts. If you get caught cheating in the aftermath, they don't come for those checks you get later. So you're still going to have certain accolades attached to your name that will net you higher paydays down the road. And that's why some baseball players, they think if they can cheat and get away with it until they sign that big check, it's worth it. So in a way, they justified in their own mind like that. I think Ryan Braun was pretty famous for saying that, the Brewers player there. But that's just, it's just, again, it's just trying to justify cheating is just something that never sits right for me. I mean, I know this is a business at the end of the day. Like, you are trying to put money in your bank account, put food on the table, et cetera, et cetera. But there is a certain thing that you're supposed to, there's a certain level of integrity you're still supposed to uphold, especially in a sport like MMA, where you're literally hurting your opponent. In baseball, cheating, that's different. Okay, you hit a ball over a fence more than the other team. In MMA, you're literally causing bodily harm at a higher level because of this illegal substance that you're taking. So the morality, the integrity issues are a little bit different there for me.
Big time. And then also, too, I think it's important to note, like, the style that TJ Dillashaw fights with, the style that propelled him to becoming a champion. This is not like when Anderson Silva popped. And, granted, that was wrong, too. But Anderson Silva's game was not predicated on some ridiculous muscularity or just abnormal strength and raw power. He was very, very much based in technique and timing and picking the right spots, and just having a certain level of fight IQ and playing mind games in order to goad someone into doing what he wanted them to do. TJ Dillashaw made his run to the belt, and his successful defenses came from just having endless cardio, having a gas tank that just didn't quit, and having this ridiculous level of output and volume. EPO is the exact drug you want to take if you want to have high volume, if you want to have endless cardio, if you want to have conditioning off the charts. EPO is the way to go. Yeah. So how can you be surprised when people are questioning your legitimacy as a fighter? They're questioning your legacy as a champion for a substance, because you took a substance that actually plays perfectly into how you fight. It's just a level of cognitive dissonance that's just amazing to me. I can't understand why this simple thing can't compute in his head.
And to even dive in a little bit further than that, it's a mentality thing as well, because you taking this and admitting you took it, it tells me that not only, like, do you believe that there's something missing physically, but there's something mental at play that's saying that, hey, I need to cheat. I need to cheat now. Like, I'm not as fast as I used to be. I'm not as strong. My cardio is slipping. I need to cheat to perform at this level, at this championship level. So when you take that into account and the fact that he is now clamoring for a title shot upon his return, says to me, wait a second, you just cheated and admitted it in your last title fight. And yes, it was at a lower weight class, but why should you be granted that opportunity to fight for the title that you did never lose inside the octagon? But why should you be immediately granted that when there's clearly something going on, with whether it be like a lack of confidence or whatever have you? Maybe it was just a lower weight class. Maybe he just didn't feel the same at 125. I don't know. I don't think we'll ever really know if that's the case or not. But being granted a title shot upon your return after a suspension from illegal substance EPO usage is just mind-blowingly, like, it just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And especially considering the guy that has the title now in Petr Yan, he is a workhorse. You wanna jump right back in there? How about take another fight, prove that you can still compete without cheating first, and let's see that. I think it actually should be a minimum of 2 fights before you get a title shot.
Yeah, I don't dislike that plan whatsoever. It makes a lot of sense. Granted, the UFC has been quite adept at handing out title shots to people who don't deserve them as of late. So if we were to wake up tomorrow with some announcement that TJ Dillashaw is expected to fight for the bantamweight title upon his return, I wouldn't be shocked at all by that. But you know what? I want to bring up a quote he had in that same interview with ESPN. It says, "If I was able to get away with it for all them years, why would I choose not to get away with it again?"
Exactly right.
So let me rewind that just in case anybody watching had a little trouble processing that, because I had to reread that a couple of times to make sure, like, did this motherfucker really say that? Yes, this motherfucker really did. This is what he said. "If I was able to get away with it for all them years, why would I choose not to get away with it again?"
Mm-hmm.
So,
so many questions. So many questions.
So we're just going to rewind this just a little bit here. So your man's logic is that he was able to get away with it all those years, but this time he chose not to. That's sort of what's being insinuated here. Like, hey, if I was a cheater the whole time, I was getting away with it, and I could have just got away with it this time, but I didn't. So I didn't. No, fam, no. You probably messed up on your cycle.
Maybe
You did your math wrong. Maybe not accounting for the lower body mass or something. Something went wrong in the calculations. If we're to believe that you were cheating before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He needs to just not talk and just have PR people handle this, because like this is silly. This is really silly.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever to claim that you want this title shot, like stake this claim for your title after cheating, and to have the confidence now to say that you're ready for a title shot upon your immediate return after this layoff. But you just, in your last fight, you had to take an illegal substance to compete. So now you're going to do it clean, and you're going to be confident enough in your abilities to go out there and win your title back. It just doesn't make sense. And I get the time off, and I think that really this is more of a money play than anything, than an actual competitive thing. I think, that time away, it hurts your pocketbook a little bit, right? So what's the highest paying fight I can take? Oh, let me go out there and start calling for title shots. Win my title back. Hey, that's more money right off the bat. Boom, bam, right back in it. Competitively, it doesn't make any sense from an integrity standpoint. But hey, like you said, we've seen the UFC do crazy things recently with title shots. Jose Aldo getting a title shot recently was the craziest one to me. And I'm pretty sure that Hamza Chimaev, is going to be getting a title shot before the first quarter is over in 2021 somehow.
Right. Also, we think John Jones, upon each of his returns from, you know, his various infractions upon society, including his PED violations, he was in title fights. So
Yeah.
this is something that we have seen before, and we could see again. But also too, like, for Dillashaw's sake, I mean, a tune-up fight sounds even better, considering that during his time off, he had surgery on, I believe, both his shoulders. So you're coming off of dual shoulder surgeries. You had an illegal substance in your system that you needed to compete with. You've, I'm sure, ballooned in weight as well, like probably not in the most optimal shape right now, because you don't have a camp to prepare for necessarily. There are so many reasons why, just general ring rust as well. There's so many reasons why this should not be happening. But I understand why he's calling it forward. It just is not a wish that the UFC should be granting at all, if they have a semblance of care toward the integrity of the sport. And that's been quite a question mark as of late.
Yeah, it really has. I'm gonna do a little bit of matchmaking here really quickly. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, by the way, guys, people out there watching. I'm gonna do a little bit of matchmaking right here, and I think this fight would make a lot of sense for both parties. Frankie Edgar, that should be your return fight.
I'm not mad at that. That would be my second choice. My first choice is Uriah Faber. Go ahead and get the grudge match out there. Get people excited about TJ Dillashaw again. That would be the perfect fight to do it.
I like that one. I like that one. Yeah, I mean, in a world where we're having to play on storylines right now as much as possible to generate views and interest. I mean, listen, who else wasn't clamoring for Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul? I know I was.
I couldn't wait.
I couldn't wait either. And thank God we got it.
Did you buy the lower price tier?
Super early bird
special.
Oh
man,
I got in before the social media post dropped, so I got it for even $5 less. You know, if you wait 10 more minutes, it goes up 10 cents an hour. You wait, however the math works on that.
It's my credit card. Yeah. So I definitely think that you have to have some sort of story behind TJ Dillashaw's return. If TJ were to come back against, I mean, granted, it'd be a great fight. Him against Corey Sandhagen or something would be a fantastic fight. But it would lack the sizzle that I think you want in a return for someone like him. So Frankie Edgar makes sense too. I mean, granted, there isn't the personal history, but it'll be such an interesting clash of styles, both relying on high volume and cardio and just relentless in your face pressure. I think that sounds like a great matchup, but I'll go with Faber as my number one pick, because it presents some style matchup stuff that could be fun, but also has the personal story. It has the drama attached to it as well.
I agree with that. I like that too. Guys, like I said, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. What do you think about TJ Dillashaw asking for this title shot immediately? Should it be granted? Should it not? And why do you agree that he shouldn't?